é só na vida que a vida não é na janela que se olha. Há uma linha clara perto da saída. Fecha os olhos.
Hi guys, it's Bria and welcome to my channel. So I want to go ahead and say, for those of you who have never seen a video of mine, I am a seasonal worker. I go from place to place about every 4 to 6 months, working different seasonal jobs all over the country. And today is going to be my last video here in Virgins, Vermont at Basin Harbor Resort. And I kind of wanted to give my review before I leave here, just of my experience, my opinions, my recommendations and advice if you are looking for a job during the summer, because this is a summer seasonal job. B, if you are already looking into Basin Harbor, I want to give you information, some like help, so that you can make a better decision about whether to come here. And I also just want to kind of give information for people who are kind of interested in seasonal work. I want you to know what you should be thinking about, what you should be asking when you're looking and researching different seasonal jobs so that you can make a better decision for wherever you're going. Okay, I am so sorry for the low energy portions in this video. I am not only tired and sleep deprived from just this stress of packing. I also shouldn't have drank that tea. I drank some English breakfast tea and it calmed me down way too much. I am so sorry. I also want to quickly just preface the rest of what I'm going to be talking about by saying a few things. One, I would never come on here and tell anyone to directly not come here. Like I would never do a review of a resort or anywhere and say you should not come here, blah blah blah. Like that's not my intention. I don't want to like bash the place or just be all out like rude and mean. This is really just to be helpful and informative. Also, I want to keep in mind, or I want you to keep in mind that we are different people, and the way that I move through the world and the way that you move through the world is totally different. So your experience may not be my experience, and that's okay. I am talking about this resort here in 2021. If you come 3 years later, things may have changed, and I hope that they do. I hope that the things that I'm going to be talking about, the negatives in particular, that they will improve upon those. I really do hope that. That's all. But yeah, so I am going to organize this video from negatives to positives. I want to end on a more light, nice note. And also within both categories, I'm going to start off with things that are big ticket topics, like things that would be deal breakers or makers, you know, things that would just be a little bit more important to you as they were to me. Okay, so let me give you a better, where's my phone? Let me give you a better understanding of what Basin Harbor is. So Basin Harbor here in Virgins, Vermont is a resort. The main draw to the resort is the harbor. The harbor is beautiful. I have tons of pictures of the harbor. Not only is it a harbor with, you know, boats and stuff, people will bring their boats in to dock it here in the harbor. Basin Harbor has their own boats that their staff will take people out on. There's also like a beach area. It's a very small beach. There's a beach area. You can swim in the harbor. There are trampolines out there. So the harbor is the main draw for most people, but there's also a golf course. So people do come here to golf. Of course, if you're an employee, I think that you can golf here, but you have to like pay for it. So that's Basin Harbor. It's very outdoorsy. There are some hikes. There's a lot of like nature-like things to do You can tell I don't really do a lot of nature stuff, but I've taken some of the walks. I've been to the harbor, and that's really the main draw for both guests and employees alike. Yeah. So let's get into it. So positives. No. So negatives first and then positives. All right, so first negative is going to be transportation. So if you have your own vehicle, I'm going to post the timestamp so you can skip this section. This is really for my friends out there who don't have vehicles, because that is something that we need to talk about. So if you have a vehicle, go ahead and skip this section. If you don't, it's okay. I am with you. Shut up. Hold on a second.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So, transportation. There are two types of places that you can like apply to when it comes to not having transportation. First option is to find somewhere where you can be at that has public transportation. It exists. I know in this country it's hard to believe, but there are places that are in towns where you can use the public transportation and you can get to where you need to go. Your second option would be to find a place where you can use the employee shuttles. That is what this place has. You can't use any public transportation. That does not exist as an option. But they do have employee shuttles. The problem is it's inconsistent, inefficient, and unreliable. I will try to keep this like a short section. So if you don't have a vehicle, you're going to be relying on the shuttle. The problem I have with the shuttle is that it does not run every day. It does not run every week. It only runs when people request it. And I think I've mentioned this, but the process of using the shuttle it's just confusing. You have to email to ask to use the shuttle, and then they have to post a clipboard outside the door and the HR's door so people can sign up. If not enough people sign up, then you can't go. But what if you really need to go to the store? What if you need lotion because you was ashy? What if you need medication? It's like seriously? I had a friend whose shuttle was canceled day of because not enough people signed up.
What?
And I had a hard time using it also because it doesn't run on the weekends. To schedule a shuttle on the weekends requires HR to schedule somebody off to run the shuttle on that weekend, and then you end up waiting weeks between when you asked to use the shuttle and when you were actually able to go on the weekend. It's just difficult. There's not one person whose job it is to run the shuttle. One of the HR people runs the shuttle sometimes, and then another guy runs the shuttle sometimes when he's able to do it, when he's available, and it's just unorganized. I could not recommend this for people who don't have a vehicle, because I truly believe they should be telling people that you need to have a vehicle to come here and be able to enjoy yourself. Because it's not only that I haven't been able to go to the store on a consistent, reliable basis, but it's also that I haven't really been able to venture out that much because the shuttle is so inconsistent. The shuttle is so not reliable that, I really pictured myself being able to see a lot and do a lot here, and I just wasn't able to. The next big ticket thing that we need to talk about in the negative section is food. I'm gonna try to go through this section without sounding like a picky eater, because I promise I'm not. But there's only so much dry, unseasoned chicken that I can literally swallow. There's only so much bad food that I can take without literally wanting to just throw myself into the harbor. So here's the thing, the food here is bad. It's not good, it's bad.
No, don't like that.
And it's not the healthiest offerings at all. I think that it tends to be very high carb, low flavor food. This is the day where dinner was literally choose your own pizza slice. Not the most balanced meals. If you're somebody who's a vegetarian, you're not going to have any options besides
I'm only being
salad.
a tad bit dramatic with this statement. Sometimes there are things like this disgusting veggie lasagna. It really isn't good. And then there are veggies sometimes, but often the veggies seem like they're cooked by someone who hates veggies. So they're usually either overcooked or overcooked and are sitting in some sort of weird sauce. And then there's rice. So your options are going to be limited whether you are or aren't a vegetarian, but if you are a vegetarian, your options are even more limited.
They often put meat in things that don't need meat, like macaroni and cheese. Why is there meat in the macaroni? Someone please explain to me. And it's not even like bacon. Like, I can understand that, but like, why did you have to put pulled pork in the macaroni? It's just unnecessary. So no offerings for vegetarians, no really balanced meal. It's really high carb. They tend to have just rice and lasagna every day. And listen, I like a good lasagna, but ain't nobody eating lasagna every day like that. And it's not even it's like the Stovers. If I was to buy you Stovers lasagna, you know, the big Stovers family lasagna, or even the small one, that wouldn't be bad. But if I bought that for you to eat every day, you'd be like, nah, we're not doing this. And that's what it is. And I'm just like, it's just not good quality food, period. And on top of that, it's a resort. So if you want to buy food on property, it's a lot of money. And then you're double dipping. You're paying for the food in the zoo and then you're not eating. And then you're going out and you're going to get sushi, which is like $30 for an actual substantial amount of food. You're going to the restaurant, which again, you know, $30 in the low end. And then there's the food truck, which, I mean, it's cheaper, but the food's not great there either. It tends to be very greasy. So yeah, food, not great here. Not great. I'll show some pictures so that you can get an idea of what I'm working with. And again, I hate to sound like picky and like oh my gosh, I just didn't like the food. But I swear it's not great. Like after a long day at work, talking to people, dealing with people's attitudes, I just want to go and sit down and eat a decent meal. Like, I'm not asking for a steak and asparagus. I just want something decent. And all the times I get off of work and I go sit down to eat, and it's just like, this is what I have to eat. I'm hungry. Now, I'll say this, not every seasonal job will have like great benefits, you know, great employee activities, but I know some jobs operate kind of like corporate America. It's a job, 9-to-5 job, not really a lot of benefits, you know, or activities, and they just so happen to have housing. Like, some seasonal jobs work like a regular job, just with housing. And some of them are kind of like college. Like, they offer like activities and excursions for employees, and, you know, they really make you feel like a part of a community. And this place doesn't really operate like either. It's like they want the benefit of being a place that has tons of activities and great benefits without really doing the work to make that a reality. I think there were 2 activities that I can say they had here. One was like karaoke night, but it wasn't for our employees. It was for guests and employees, which was kind of like, was that really an employee event, or did you just do an event for guests and then say employees can go? You know what I mean? And then they did an employee like pool time a couple of days ago. I did a couple of days of this where, like, generally employees are not allowed to use the pool. It's the one thing that you can't use here. But like, they set aside days where, yeah, employees can go after 6. The problem is they waited until September to do it when it's cold now. Like, at 6 o'clock now, it's getting cold. And so I went once and I'm like, yo, let's leave, it's cold. Like, there's tile around the pool and it's freezing. Like, what is that about? And so I just find that, like, I did the orientation and they talked about, oh, we want you to have fun and da 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 da. But it's like, you aren't doing anything to facilitate that. So, I mean, why even say anything about it? Because you're not really doing anything to help make that a reality. Next. Next thing I want to talk about really quickly is the unstable Wi-Fi and inconsistent power. So I think we lost power here about 5 separate times, and the power outages ranged anywhere from like a couple minutes to a couple hours. And it wasn't just like storms that caused the power outages. Like, I swear, some of the power outages seem to come out of nowhere. Yeah. And then, like, separate from that, there have been Wi-Fi issues where we didn't have Wi-Fi for like 2.5 days. Like, this happened recently. I think my last video, when I was trying to edit my last video, I had to like push back my editing because the whole day I didn't have Wi-Fi. I was like, no. I was like going, and like I had, for whatever reason, we had power in the reservation office, like in the building where reservations and sales is. And I would go there and download like Netflix shows and then come back to my room to watch stuff. And I was like, okay. And the last thing I want to mention in the negatives category is the bugs. Like, you can't really avoid them here. It's a very country, nature, woodsy area. So with that comes bugs. Okay, so the major bugs that you're gonna see are like spiders, hornets, and wasps, and bees. Like, there are it's like woodsy outside, and there are flowers outside. And there's spiders everywhere. I mean, I have my own spider spray. I put it in my, like, this used to be like setting spray, but I put it in here. It looks awful. But like my supervisor made us spider spray because there would be spiders like coming up. Like, we live upstairs from the zoo, and so I would get spiders coming like from the window, coming from the hall, because the downstairs door, I swear, stays open. And like, if you're sensitive about that, if you don't like spiders, like I don't like spiders, but it's like, they're here, what am I supposed to do? That's something that, like, if you're like afraid of spiders, here's your little tidbit. Like, this is for you. All right. I felt really weird talking about all that negativity. So here are some of the positives. So positive number 1 is single rooms, aka no roommate, and female only dorms. So not many places have a guarantee that you will have no roommate. Most places, you have at least one roommate. They only have, actually, this is the only place I've ever seen that only has single rooms. And you don't have to ask for it. You don't have to pay extra for it. It's guaranteed, and that's pretty cool. Also, if you're a female and you feel more comfortable in female only dorms, they have that option here. You will have to share a bathroom. In all cases, even if you have your own room, your own single room, which you will, you still have to share a bathroom. So I share a bathroom with Cha-Cha. I think it's a pretty good deal. I only have to share a bathroom with one other person. Whereas in the female dorms, you'll have to share a bathroom with most of the other girls there. I think in the female dorm Esquire, I think there were 2 like mass bathroom shower areas, which you have to share with the girls in the building. Okay, so next positive on the list is pay and room and board fees. So I I can't really speak about every position on property, but I can tell you from working in reservations, and then my friend's sister, she works in housekeeping, and I've gotten her to give me like some information about her pay and her tips as a housekeeper. So I actually do think that the pay and room and board fees are a positive, because it could be a lot worse. I think they offer pretty good pay to rent and food fees. So as a reservation agent, I make $14 an hour. It's not the highest, but it's definitely not the lowest. I've seen worse. Every pay period for like meals and like rent, they take out $170 gets taken out of my check every 2 weeks for meals and housing. That's not a lot. What is that, $340? Is that, did I do that math right? That's $340. I'm a genius. Okay. So yeah, that's $340 every month. That's nothing for rent and meals. That's not bad. So let me read you what my friend who's a housekeeper said. I think housekeeping has a pretty good setup. So let's see. As a housekeeper here, she makes $13.75 as a housekeeper. Of course, your tips are going to fluctuate day to day. You know, she says she gets anything from $0 to $100 a day. When I'd say here, they tip pretty generously. I think that she usually gets her some sort of tips. I think it's a pretty good setup for a housekeeper. I mean, she only makes a quarter less than I do when she gets tips. If I could work housekeeping, I would. But y'all, I don't like housekeeping. I don't clean my own daggone room. I ain't gonna clean nobody else's. I don't like it. I promise you, my room is a mess. My room is a mess right now because I haven't started packing yet. Like, as soon as I finish doing this video, I gotta start packing because I leave in like 4 days. This is ridiculous. So the next thing has to do with, the next positive is the harbor and access to water activities as an employee. So if you like love water activities, if you think you're going to have a great time at the harbor, then this is going to be a great place for you, because you as an employee get to use the kayaks, the canoes, the paddle boards, and the paddle boats for free. I'm gonna start paddling. There you go. Oh God. Wait. There you go. Look at you. Like you that is your benefit. So I know I did mention there weren't many benefits here, because there really aren't. But this is one of the one and only benefits to you is the harbor. And I think it's a great benefit if and only you use it. It's kind of like going and working at a ski resort. Most of the resorts will give you a ski pass of sorts as a benefit. And again, it's a great benefit if you're going to use it. If not, then you're not going to find that you have many benefits. It's okay. It is what it is. I don't have much to say about that. I did use the kayak once. I tried it. I try new things everywhere I go, and it's just like the kayak wasn't for me. I ended up tipping it over, and I freaked out when I got into the lake, when I tipped over into the lake, because there's so much seaweed down there that I was like, my feet were touching on stuff, and I was like freaked out. Ugh, I still feel it today. And I went in with my glasses on thinking that I wasn't gonna fall, and I totally fell in, and I just thank God that my glasses stayed on. Last thing I want to talk about really quickly is the work environment. I find that it's a pretty casual work environment here. Like, it's not this huge like chasm between managers and employees. Like, they're pretty nice here, and they actually want you to have a good time. The managers, you know, they want to hang out with you. I find a lot of people hang out with their managers at the Red Mill. They go out, have a drink. And you generally like have fun with your managers. And I enjoy my manager. I thought she was really nice. She really advocated for us with a couple of things that we brought to her as a concern here. She advocated for us to HR. It didn't work, but I'll go into that in a minute. Yeah, I found that it's a pretty casual work environment. It's not too strict. It's not too like, oh, I'm a manager, I can't talk to you, you peasant. It's not like that. Like, they actually have fun with you. So I think that's really cool, and it helps with the community aspect. So here's the thing. No, I could not recommend coming to Basin Harbor. I can't recommend it. If you were my friend and you were looking for a job to do in the summer, I could not recommend this place. I couldn't. I feel like the big issues overwhelm a lot of the positives, and there are some positives. And you may look at this video and say, hey, like, this sounds like a great place for me. And that's cool, and I hope you have a fantastic time, but I won't be recommending it. I feel like the food situation, like, I've had a hard time with the food. I've gone to bed sometimes hungry because there weren't any options available for me, anything that was good, anything that I wanted to eat. And then outside of the zoo, I've spent so much money on food, like outside of the zoo, like food, the sushi, food at the food truck, which made me sick at the food truck. Like, I had a meal at the food truck that was so greasy. I wish I'd taken a picture of it. It had about an inch thick of grease from the brisket and the meatballs that I got sick to my stomach and had to throw it up. And I hate throwing up, but I had to do it because it was just like bubbling in my stomach. I know. Oh. And my manager, she was like, I told her about it because I'm like, this is not the kind of food I think that we should be serving people. Like, this is food that is at the food truck. This is food that guests are getting. And she was like, yeah, no, that's awful. And she actually gave me my money back for that. And that's, you know, like, that's just the example of how I really feel like the managers do care about you. But the food, it's a big issue. Transportation, again, big issue. If you have a vehicle, transportation issue is not going to be with you. But for me, it's just like, it hasn't been the best of times. And a lot of these issues I know are issues that have been persistent issues, and I know that. It would be a different thing altogether if COVID could be a factor. But I know from talking to people who have come here year after year that that's not the case. The food issue has been what it is for a while. Transportation issue has been what it is for a while. And my manager has advocated for us because she knows the issues. And yet it seems like on HR's part, they have been like ignoring that and not taking the feedback, which is problematic because if you say, oh, we have issues getting employees to come or getting people to come and work here, why aren't you taking feedback? Like, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And it'd be different if I thought that they were trying, that they were making strides to change, but I just don't feel like they are. And that's like, okay, well, I'm going to go about my business. But again, like, I wouldn't come back here because of these issues and because I feel like you're ignoring people who actually want to give you, you know, constructive criticism. It's a problem for me. But yeah, that doesn't mean, I say all that to say, I say all that, but I want to make it clear. There were times where I had fun. You know, I met some great people here that I hope to stay in contact with later. I met some great coworkers that made my work days more fun.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further?
The next video you're gonna see, I'll be back at home. I'll be home for like 5 days, getting my stuff repacked, getting the last little things I need before I go back to Colorado. And then, you know, I'll be in Colorado until the end of February. I can't remember. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Won't you come